Hello. The Llangollen Canal, a canal full of memories. We will touch on the Llangollen, the Llangollen breach, as we do in the video, but there's a lot of things what happen as well, hence why our title is The Ripple Effect. But we know there's a lot of people doing the view, these views of what's going on, but for us it's different. It is different for us, and we have our reasons, which I think you'll understand soon. Now, the best thing to come out of all this catastrophic happenings was that nobody was injured, and that in itself was unbelievable when you look at things. And all other things have been done by people. I'm not commenting on that, how people are approaching stuff and out like that. That's all been covered by many videos. Some by people who've never been near a canal, but all of a sudden you see them there. But that's by and by. And I don't want to drone on much because you might take flight. But we've got a passion for the Llangollen. We really have. 1976 was our first time on a boat called Freddie that we went on the Llangollen. We also had our honeymoon in 1980 on the Llangollen on a little boat called Josephine. We got that from Vauxhall Marina. It was blue and yellow Black Prince boats then. And we had our first new narrowboat shell built there and partially fitted. We did the rest. Never again. That was a lesson learned. So we have a lot of memories and we know a lot of people there. So what happened did have an impact, because when you have all that done and you're moored on the canal for 19 years as well, you get sort of a special feeling. You really do. And that's what we have. So like I said, we'll perk everything because you'll see loads of videos of people doing the breach and how it develops. But we really do want to show you an alternative thing, because it doesn't finish at that breach. It may look good for cameras and all that, and people getting the views and all that for the channels and etc. But this is a bit more of reality of what that catastrophe means long term, because we're losing the Llangollen Canal for, well, they say it's best part of 2026, and that is really bad, as you will see as I go along. So I'll stop talking about this now, and we'll get on to the main part of this video, which is called the ripple effect. So off we go. Now, when this breach happened, the main priority for the Canal and River Trust was maintaining the water to Earlston Junction. That's a certainty. That was the priority. So very quickly, as they have done on other occasions, they get the pipes and the pumps and they make certain that water gets flowing as quickly as possible to feed Earlston Reservoir, which feeds water to a lot of areas in Cheshire, places like Crewe and the villages around and that. So that's pretty important, and they did that very quick. But everything else is going to take a lot longer. It really is. Now, I'll just go into a few bits and pieces. This canal is now split. It's split in two, an uneven two. The side coming up from Earlston Junction to Grinley Brook, or the higher base at Whitchurch, is approximately 12 miles. That's one separate piece. The other side, which goes obviously from where the breach is at Whitchurch to the top of Llangollen Basin, is 31 miles. So it's split. But the 31 miles, that's it. There's nothing else you can do there. So this is how I think things will pan out. There's a heck of a lot, because the Llangollen Canal is like one of, if not the main canal for CRT for tourists. It is a tourist canal, the Llangollen Canal. It sorts of splits. In winter, you get a lot more continuous cruisers up there, because you've got the flowing water is the main thing, because it flows the water quite fast. It doesn't freeze up much, you know, and it's not an hard canal to move about on if you're a continuous cruiser. I know we have people known as continuous moorers as well, but I'm not going to get into that. But that winter is mostly continuous cruisers. The other times, you've got private boaters, you know, leisure boaters like ourselves, but you've also got a heck of a lot of hire boats. The stretch what's closed now is 6 or 7 hire bases are on there, if I can think of some. We've obviously, at the top, we've got Anglo-Welsh at Trevor, and we've got at Chirk, I think there's Crest Narrowboats. We've got boats at Whittington Wharf. We've got boats at Blackwater Meadow Marina. Wicksall Marina has got boats there. There's Lineal Trust, who a little company who hire boats for people with disabilities or the vulnerable, and they go on holidays, you know, families go with them and all that. That's a nice organisation. They'll be affected as well. And I think I might have missed one out anyway, but you've got my list what I'll show you, and there's different boats, different hire boats up and down that little stretch. So this is where the ripple effect takes in now. Currently, the people up on that section, they've got to make some decisions. And I think I've heard around things what people have said. I think the fuel boat is up there, trapped, and I don't think it's in use, but there's an hotel boat up there on that section. Plus, you've got all your continuous cruisers trapped who have to make a decision. Now, you could stay up there and, you know, and it's going to be best part of this year, 2026, or you can make some sort of arrangements to get your boat craned out and moved to another location, which the more people who do that, it should be cheaper, but it'll still be a significant cost. Now, the thing what people also forget, there's private boaters on the linear moorings, which are on the side of the canal, and in the marinas, and they're all popular moorings then, and they're trapped in them. Now, if like us, when we was on there, we used to go out for 6 or 7 months and go off travelling round and then come back. That for all these boaters, I know not all do it, but that for them boaters puts them in a position as well where they are trapped and they can't go on the extended holiday, and they want to, you know, most people want to keep their own mooring up there because they're that popular. So they're in a funny spot as well, you know. Do they get involved with getting craned out and craned back? Perhaps, I don't know. But they're hit quite hard, so it's not just, it's not just down to continuous cruisers and the hire fleets. There's also the private boaters. Because it's not cheap to moor on the Llangollen, that's for certain. But this goes bigger than just the hire fleets up there. It starts to affect other things as well. The businesses, they're going to be hit. Are people going to be happy to do that little 30-mile stretch on hire boats and paying a fortune to be on there? Or are they going to say, I'll go somewhere else, I'll hire a boat somewhere else? Or are some of the hire boats going to get craned off? But they need to find a location to put them boats if they move off the Llangollen. It's all these decisions that have got to be made. Personally, I think it's going to be a nightmare, that 31 miles. People, I think they'll be cancelling holidays for fun up there on hire fleets, impacting on businesses. There's one thing for certain, hire boaters, and to some part as well, the private boaters, tend to spend a lot more money than what continuous cruisers do. They tend to go out more or buy things more for the boat, or the hire boat people, we were on holiday, they spend for fun in places, and that's not going to be there, or not as much. It's going to have a big impact on businesses. So that's all going to happen up in that trap section. The other side of the breach, there's still 12 miles approximately of the Llangollen Canal. It's not much of a trip really if you're coming up for that little trip. Some people might come up to Wrenbury, the Dusty Miller pub there and that, but it's not the most exciting trip. So I think that'll be affected as well in a big way. But there's also a couple of hire fleets there as well who, I think the Swanley is one of them, and I can't remember the other one, there's that many. But there is another one, the one at Wrenbury, the big one at Wrenbury as well, ABC Leisure there. They're not going to get the same bookings going, because everybody used to go up to make their way up to the aqueducts and to the Llangollen Basin in the summer months. And they're going to have a big effect as well. But the ripple effect doesn't finish there, because you're then moving on to the Shropshire Union, and I know some good, on our marina we've got Cheshire Cat narrowboats. Recommend them to anybody, by the way. Family owned, and we know them well. We've known them for about 26 years now, Mark and Linda, and that fleet is brilliant. But all their boats, a vast majority go up the Llangollen, and that will have an impact. The same is for boats the other way on the Llangollen, like Chazard and another big Anglo-Welsh fleet there. And then you've got some at Venetian Marina. You've got some Venetian hire boats there. You go a bit further down the middle, which I know you think you're getting a long way away, but it's how they're advertised to get, people's got a great trip up to the Llangollen. Anderson boats, even as far as fields as the likes of Anderton Marina and hire boats on the Macclesfield. I know there's places you can go, but there are restrictions in them areas as well, which I'll talk a little bit about after. And it's the same at the top end of the Shropshire Union. They used to advertise, there's countrywide cruisers and Napton narrowboats and the hire boats at Norbury. They used to come that way as well. Lots of people book to go to the Llangollen, the trip. It's a decent enough trip for a week, but they'd have to do alternatives. There's a couple of hire fleets, like I say, on the Macclesfield as well, what could be affected. It just rolls on. This ripple just keeps going and going and going. And people have got to understand, long time after the repairs have started and all them boats have been moved out and that, this is still happening. This is what I want people to understand. And it's all impacting on businesses. It really, really is. And what you've got to remember with this as well, and when I say they go to the Llangollen, there is alternatives. There's a 4 counties ring, which can be done in a week, but it's hard work and I don't think people enjoy it as much, especially if you're a novice. The Llangollen is great for a novice. 2 weeks is better for that. And the Cheshire Ring, which was another popular one, because of the breach at the Bridgewater, that's out. That's out now, so they can't do that. Another attraction, the Anderton Boat Lift, that's out this year. Can't do that. So people have got less choice in the northern areas, you know, in the Midlands. It's getting less and less. So it does have a huge impact. If you look at the adverts for the boats, Floating Holidays, for example, he's already said it's going at business. That's there at Middlewich, and they've said they expect to be hit by what's happened at the Llangollen, which is fully understandable, because all these hire boats, even on the Shropshire Union, that always advertise a lovely trip to the Llangollen Canal. Well, that's gone. So that's, it is concerning. And because I've got these, because we've done this, we're not just done it for 7 or 8 years. We've been boating. This is 50 years. And we was going to go on the Llangollen in March, so that's gone now. But we'll be having another trip another way. You've got to do, haven't you, when you're celebrating such a good, what I think is a good thing. And we just get that feeling for it all. It means a lot more to us because we've had a lifetime of memories on the canals. Now, just before I go, because this is what surprises some people, particularly if you're not like really into the canals, but you like looking at boat things. And I always like to try to speak openly and truthful. I don't like to just say, if I say that, it might affect my channel and all that sort of thing. I try to tell you the truth about things. Now, the breach, not good. It's not as rare as you think. There's been loads of problems on the canal network around. Another problem which hasn't had the hasn't had the publicity as much is at Penkridge on the Staffs and Worcester. There's a house there, an old lockside house. The foundation's on the corner because it was a culvert. It's been washed away. And the road, I don't know if it's still closed at the moment as this video goes out, but the bridge at Penkridge has been closed as well. That's a big thing as well, but it doesn't get the same publicity because the Llangollen, very popular canal. You did have a couple of canal vloggers up there who were looking around it and all that. And the publicity came around because they were, promoting it all and that. That's just the way it is. There's been a few other breaches on the Llangollen with effects, people badly affected because we were there and we know what happened. And there's been 2 big ones. The one near Hampton Bank and Bettersfield, which were caused by the badgers, that absolutely decimated that area for ages. Nobody was cruising around and that, and there was so many restrictions, and we saw it. And this is what's happened now with this one. So I think that offhand, I think I've got 3 quite recent breaches along the Llangollen. But you go off there and you think, they had the horrible one on the Middlewich branch. That was another monumental one, what affected people. We already know about the Bridgewater. There's been recent massive one on the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. That was another one. The Dutton breach, that was another massive thing. You know, so they're not as rare as what people are making out. They do happen, you know. And the other thing, the final little bit is, boats do get they get caught in the breach. They've not sunk, but they do get stranded. You know, you see loads, you know, when you look, it's not unusual to see boats caught in what's happened and they're like that, slanting down. That's not unusual when there's a breach. And also, unlike up on the Llangollen there, they're not back floating as quick either. Not just a day or so. They're waiting weeks and months to get floating again. They really are. So it does vary tremendously, but it's not an unusual thing. Now, I know I've gone on there, but I've done it because I really, you know, canals, even though we don't live permanently on the canals, I think celebrating our, you know, all these years boating and getting involved with everybody, you know, there's other things I could talk about. We knew all the old British water staff, you know, they were part of the community. They really were. We knew them by name. And the things what, you know, CRT now have, like, instead of being proactive, they're reactive. And I don't think that really works. They need to get skilled people back, but it will take time because the good guys who now are probably retired, but they do need to get more people hands-on rather than relying on contractors, even though they are, for the bigger stuff, contractors are going to be needed. And the other thing, which is a must, we need lensmen back. I know money's short, but all these disasters are costing money. So surely if you've got people there who can see things or are aware of things, like lensmen did, walking up and down the canal side, and they look at things and they say, "Whoa, that's not looking good." Be proactive and get it sorted, because it costs a lot less. There is another thing I want to show you as well. This, of all places, is outside our marina. And it happened in 2021. Yeah, I think that's right. And when we were there was a few people looking at things on the water, and so were we. And I took my camera. And we had a look, and we saw this whirlpool. And when you see things like that, you think, well, water's going somewhere. And it certainly was, to the field opposite, and a little bit into the marina as well, but on the grass. It was flooding. So the overwater, the staff and that, they had a look, and the next thing, they phoned CRT, and they came down and had a look. And before you know it, we had the canal drained, the temporary cofferdams put in, and there was an hole. And it was no doubt an old culvert. Not all culverts are, they know where the culverts are. They're everywhere. Some are even made of wood. Can you believe it? But that had given, and the water was sucking down. It could have been so much worse. But give them the due, they quickly got that done. But they didn't finish it. And what they did on the marina side, they threw this canvas down and put some sandbags around and some weights on it, and said, we'll get back to that. That's like a temporary fix for now, and we'll get it sorted. So that's, in effect, is a sticking plaster. It is now 2026. And believe it or not, that sticking plaster is still there. I wonder how long it'll last. Or will it ever get repaired? Who knows? But I just thought I'd show you that as well. I won't go on any further because this has been going on ages. But I hope you understand where I'm coming from, and yeah, it's very, very, very sad. Right, I'll have to just stop now. I think it's my turn to make a nice cup of tea. So I'll go and do that and leave you all to what you're doing during the day or night whenever you're watching this video. So as usual, for now, we'll see you in the next one. But all I can say, as I always do, is ta-ra.